Good evening and welcome to Straight Talk with Mildred Crump. Before we go any further, let me say thank you once again for taking time out of your schedule to be with us this evening as we discuss issues of relevance to the city of Newark and sometimes even beyond. Our subject today is going to be one of those. For some of you know that for 42 years, I was a teacher of special needs children with a concentration in Braille. And as a result of my experiences with children where there were interrupted intellectual capacities, I worked with parents and families and school districts and all kinds of assessors to develop and to build an individualized program for children who had special needs. This evening, we have with us a mom. She has a child who has cerebral palsy. One of the reasons I decided that we would do a program around disabilities is because, for whatever reason, I am getting lots of calls from particularly grandparents who are concerned about their grandchildren and the behavior. And so the idea popped into my head one day after talking to one of those persons. We need to bring this information out into a wider audience so that those of you who are struggling silently will know that there is a support system. We have Chiana Rankins. Help me with the pronunciation.
Chakima.
Chakima Rankins. I knew her last name. So we are glad that she was willing, because a lot of people are not willing to talk about issues such as this. They're so personal. But she was willing, and if she's willing, so am I. It is my hope and my prayer that at the end of this taping, that there will be someone who has found new insight, new information, and some relief as they deal with their special child. So when did you learn that your child might be born with some kind of malfunction, not working?
Well, Destiny, she wasn't born with cerebral palsy. This happened after birth due to lack of oxygen towards her brain. So that's when, I found out from the doctors she was going to be diagnosed with CP, which is cerebral palsy.
Mm-hmm.
And I was so puzzled that I couldn't believe that my daughter was going to not walk, maybe not see. And it was just disappointing to me because I was a young lady at 16, didn't know how to raise a child with a disability. And my mom was on my side, and it was a struggle, but I found strength in God.
Amen.
To help me through this process with my daughter.
It's interesting you should mention the debilitating effects of oxygen because back in the 60s, and I'm not sure why physicians and people who were in the medical field didn't discover it sooner, and that's not a disclaimer or anything. It's just the reality. And because of over-oxygenation of children who were born and in an incubator, we had an unbelievable number of children who were born not with major disabilities, but were also blind. And from about 1960 until perhaps the late 1970s. And finally, a physician discovered that in an attempt to help them breathe, They were also doing damage to the brain. And some of them had the wider spectrum, but it appears that your daughter, Destiny,
Yes.
and I couldn't think of her name, and I think that's such a wonderful name that you have given her.
Thank you.
It's a positive name. It's not a negative name. So, how did your family support you? You said your mom was with you.
Yes, it was only my mom that supported me through the whole thing. I only had her by my side, no one else. And by her supporting me, she would go with me to doctor's appointment, occupational, speech, and everything through Destiny Childhood. And I appreciate her so much because it was hard raising.
Give her a shout out.
Hi.
Hey, Mom.
Hi, Mom. I appreciate your support helping me raising Destiny because it was hard. It was hard, and I love you so much for being by my side. I couldn't do it without you.
Oh, that's great. What's your mom's name?
Rochelle Rankins.
Hey, Rochelle Rankin. God bless you. We need more mothers like you. So, as you were first confronted with the seriousness of what Destiny, what her future looked like,
Right.
were there some things that you did to prepare yourself for motherhood? Did you go back to school? Did you, meet with doctors?
Well, I'm from Jersey City, New Jersey.
Mm-hmm. You told me that.
The school I went to was Dickinson High School.
I used to teach there. Go ahead.
They didn't have, like, I had to leave that school because I wanted to be with my child, and I was 16 at the time, and I found a program which was a school that you can bring your child to school with you, so for you can bond with your child. And the school was called Hudson County School of Technology in Jersey City. And I was so happy that I found that program because when I was in high school, and she was home while my sister was babysitting her, I felt something was missing from me. So I just started to do research on schools where can I bring my child with me. So from then, I just started to go to school, and they picked me and my daughter Destiny up, bring us to school, bring us back home, and then that's how we bind. And I graduated from that school.
So you graduated with what kind of degree or
it was
certificate?
It was a high school diploma.
It was a high school diploma?
Yes, it was a high school.
And did it lead you to do some other things?
No, it just gave me the same support far as, math and the same support that another high school would give me. It's just that my child was with me. That was the difference between the school.
All right. Let me give a shout out to anybody who's from Jersey City and Dickinson. It was one of the high schools in the city of New Jersey where I had a totally blind student. It was one student, a totally blind student who was a contributing partner and member of the student body. She was funny. She was just hysterical, and the teachers at Dickinson, and this is back in maybe the 80s, were open to any suggestions that I made during that time that they thought would give her support. And she did graduate, and so that's a shout out for Dickinson. One of the most difficult times that I found working with parents, because when you have a child who has special requirements, the family, and I want to say must and should and have, and all of those, definitions um, some don't.
Right.
And I remember many years ago, and you can tell me if this has ever happened. We're in the holiday season right now. And the parents would say to me, I hate observing the holiday season because I don't know what to buy my child. And if they had other children in the family, um, they felt that there was a void, a gap, because the children with regular expectations, and then here is this child that they loved equally as much, had no way of expressing, or you know what I
Right.
mean. Yeah, you get that.
Yes.
So how do you work through that?
Well, I have a son that's 14, and my son and my daughter is 2 years apart, and he always say, "Mommy, why you always treat me different from my sister?" I'm like, "No, I don't treat you different. It's just that she has special needs, and I have to explain to to you how I treat you guys the same, but it's just that she needs more attention than you." And to this day, he understands now.
That's very good.
Yeah, he understands.
I've seen young people who were siblings with another who had whatever the issue was, blindness, particularly because that was my focus. They would, as I was teaching the child how to read Braille, they'd say, Miss Crump, can you teach me how to do this? And I would take the time because I didn't want them to feel there was something wrong or not good about their sibling who was reading with their fingers as opposed to reading with their eyes. And there are tactile pieces of equipment that, especially when their sibling was close in age, as I was doing the teaching, they picked up the skill. They really do. So support in your family from siblings is absolutely, I don't have to tell you that, is absolutely critical and absolutely necessary. So what kind of toys are you going to buy?
Well, for my daughter Destiny, she loves the tablet. She's
Oh,
so smart with
okay.
playing with the tablet. Educational, of course,
Yes.
because that's how she communicate.
Yes.
She verbal, and sometimes she sign language, and another is touching everything that's on the iPad. If she have to use the restroom or whatever she needs, she works with the iPad.
Oh, very good.
Yes.
So go ahead. Don't let me interrupt you.
And she just loves listening to music that gets her in the mood, and she's always happy. So yeah.
That's good news. I used to say to parents, I don't have to tell you this because I can tell you have a handle on everything that goes on, that almost everything in their house, how a household can be used to teach your child how to be as efficient as possible. And I don't know why this story popped into my mind, but I had about, she was 2 or 3, and I think she lived in Jersey City, come to think of it. And I was teaching her the concept of in and out. So I said to her father, do you think you could go to one of the appliance stores and if you could get a big refrigerator container, a box? And he said, sure. So in about 2 or 3 weeks, he came. He said, Miss Crump, I finally got it. So I was teaching the daughter, and I'm not going to use her name. I was teaching her the concept. I would crawl in, and then she would, I'd say, catch up, come on. I've got a lollipop or whatever. And we'd go further. And as I was teaching her, I never will forget, it was 1979, that's when it was. In the process of teaching her the concept of in and out, using that, I hurt my back. I was off from work for about 2 weeks. I found a substitute way of doing that.
Oh,
I let them go in. I've had many unusual experiences, I
right.
can honestly say, in working with children who required a creativity. Do you find that necessary, that you have to be creative when you're working with her, as opposed to working with your son?
Yes, I have to find that very creative because she is very smart. She, you know, once you show her one time, she know what to do. She's very independent. So she walks with her walker. She goes to the kitchen. She do her normal activities. Go to bed by herself. She does a lot of things to be a child with CP, cerebral palsy. So she just brighten up my day.
I bet.
Brighten up my day.
I bet.
Yes.
Your
And my son also, he helps out with her homework. And
Oh.
we do everything as a family. And he's very good at that, and he have very patient with her.
Who knows? He may grow up to be a doctor, or and not just a DR doctor, but PhD, and write the magic script for how you deal with children. There's no better experience in teaching than to live.
Yes.
Live with it. So you're going to the store, and you're shopping for whatever, groceries, clothing, and you take Destiny with you. What happens? Because I've had to turn to some people and literally punch. Not when I say punch,
Right.
but nothing makes me more angry.
Right.
Go ahead.
That's when I take her to the grocery store. She just act normal to me. She's always smiling. If she wants something, she always asks me, mommy, can I have that? Or she point to it, and she just sits in the shopping cart and just look around happy because, she sees a lot of people, and she don't act out or anything. She just calm.
I don't. Go ahead.
And you know how I used to be embarrassed when I was young, and little kids will come up to me and ask me, "Oh, why she's so big in a carriage? Why she's walking with her walker?" And when I was young, I didn't really know how to explain to them because it's like it gets me really upset. But now that I'm much older, I'll just tell them and explain to them and why she's, this way in a calmly, manner. Yes. So,
Children are curious,
yes.
and they can be curious without being cruel. It's if they've never ever had the opportunity to be in the presence of. Have you ever had a negative experience where you want to punch them?
Oh, yes, of course. Of course.
Good for
Like
you.
when I was
Right.
a little young, when I was like in my 20s. Yes.
So can you talk about it?
It's crazy because my son was with me and he's very overprotective over his sister. And then he would just actually, before I even say anything, he would say, "Oh, mind your business. It's not your place to ask questions about why my sister like this," because his friends used to ask him, "Oh, why your sister's like that?" So he would say, "This none of your business." He just overprotective. He likes to defend
Well, that's
her.
good.
Yeah. So
That's good.
yeah. They would just stare, like
Yes.
stare. So my son would like.
And he'd look back.
Yes,
I
he
know
would-
the look.
Yes.
Yes. So, does she have a particular friend? I meant to ask that earlier because it begs me the question for something else. Does she have when she was going to school with you? Did she have a particular friend? I believe, and I'm gonna tell you why I asked this question, because I believe that they have an inner sense.
Okay.
there's and not just an inner sense, but innocence as well.
Right. Well, when she was, when I was taking her to school with me, they had like a daycare center where I'll go check on her on my school breaks. And as I was walking in the daycare center, she was young still, so she didn't really make any friends until she got a little older, when she started, because she used to go to A. Harry Moore School in Jersey
Oh,
City.
sure, I know A. Harry Moore very
So she
well.
made a lot of friends
Another
there.
shout out for Jersey City.
A. Harry Moore, thank you. You've been so great to Destiny.
That's right, another shout out. Another great, great, great program. I worked there as well. Actually, so let me explain. What I did was I traveled from district to district, and that's why I had so much contact with Jersey City. It was one of the districts with which I worked with teachers, to help them get up to speed, especially those who had no experience, get up to speed on how to handle a child who was using a braille writer, and those kinds of things. Those kind of new technology that make life bearable for them. So we're getting close to the end, and I can't believe that it's almost over, because I feel like I haven't asked all of the questions that are going to help you help someone who is watching this program. That's the purpose of this program. Out there is a parent who's saying, I don't know what to do. I don't know how to do it, who doesn't have a family that's supportive. And what they don't know is that there are resources